You are standing on a beach. Behind you, a continent you've never seen the edge of. Forest, mountains, rivers you don't know the names of yet. In front of you, water, as far as you can see. There is no boat. There is no map. There is no one who has ever done what you're about to do. And still, you're going to walk into that water, or build something that floats, or wait for the ice to freeze solid enough to cross. Because somewhere behind you, something went wrong. The game left. The rains stopped. The group got too big for the land to feed. So you move. And here's the strange part. You are not unusual. You are one person in an unbroken chain of people who did exactly this, generation after generation, for over 100,000 years, until you species touched every landmass on Earth except the ice at the very bottom. This is how that happened.
Let's set the scale first. Modern humans started in Africa. That's not disputed. What is wild is the math of what came after. One species, 0 boats, 0 horses, 0 wheels for most of it. And within roughly 100,000 years, humans had reached the southern tip of Africa, the edges of Europe, the deserts of Australia, the Arctic Circle, and the tip of South America. Over 14,000 kilometers from where they started. On foot, by raft, on ice. No other large mammal has ever done this. Not naturally, not without us carrying them. You did this without knowing where you were going. Let that sit for a second. The first walkout. Around 70,000 years ago, give or take. And yes, the dates argue with each other. Small groups start leaving Africa. Not in a wave, not with a plan, in trickles. You're following the coastline because the coastline feeds you. Shellfish, fish, fresh water where rivers meet the sea. You don't need to hunt mammoths yet. The beach is doing the work. This is the part people get wrong. They imagine explorers, heroes with a destination in mind. There wasn't one. You were walking along a coast because yesterday's coast fed you, and there was no reason to believe tomorrow's wouldn't too. You crossed from Africa into Arabia, maybe during a wetter climate window when the desert briefly turned green. You didn't know you were leaving a continent. You just knew there was more shoreline ahead. Genetics backs this up now. Nearly everyone outside Africa today can trace ancestry back to a relatively small group that made this crossing. A bottleneck. A handful of families whose descendants would eventually fill 2 hemispheres. The water problem. Then you hit water that doesn't end. This is where it gets genuinely hard to explain, because the archaeology keeps forcing us to push the timeline back. Australia. To reach it, even during the Ice Age, when sea levels dropped and land bridges appeared everywhere else, you still needed open ocean crossings, dozens of kilometers of water with no land visible on the other side. And humans did it anyway. Around 65,000 years ago, maybe earlier, on rafts, on boats made of bundled reeds or hollowed logs. Nothing survives that long, so we don't have the boat. We only have the proof that people arrived. Picture that crossing. You can't see where you're going. You don't know if there's anything on the other side. You're taking children. You're taking fire, somehow kept alive on burning wood inside a wet raft. Here's what's actually being decided in these moments, generation after generation. Whether your bloodline continues or ends on a beach. There is no rescue. No one is coming to check on you in 6 months. If the raft sinks, if the island is empty of food, if the ice you're crossing cracks, that's it. That branch of the family tree is over. No story, no memory, just silence where a future should have been. Every person alive today is descended from the ones who made it, not the ones who tried, the ones who made it. That's not poetry. That's just how inheritance works.
The ice bridge north. Now go north, tens of thousands of years later. Ice ages come with a strange gift. They lock up so much ocean water in glaciers that sea levels drop, and land appears where water used to be. Between Siberia and Alaska, this exposed a stretch of land.
A stretch of land archaeologists now call Beringia. Not a thin bridge, but an entire landmass, sometimes over 1,000 kilometers wide, covered in grass and roamed by mammoths, bison, horses.
You're not crossing a bridge. You're living on a continent that used to be seafloor. And it's cold, genuinely brutal cold. You need sewn clothing, not draped hides. You need needles made of bone. You need to understand exactly which animal fat burns longest in a lamp when the sun disappears for months. The people who crossed into the Americas this way, sometime between 20,000 and 15,000 years ago, or possibly earlier along the coast by boat. Again, the dates keep moving as we dig. We're carrying technology that took over 50,000 years to develop. Clothing, fire control, cold weather hunting, all of it, just to survive the walk. So nothing forced humans to fill the entire planet. No predator was chasing us across oceans. No single decision was made to spread out. It happened because, again and again, small groups looked at an edge, a coastline, an ocean, an ice sheet, a mountain range, and decided the unknown on the other side was worth the risk of never coming back. You are the result of thousands of those decisions,
Made by people who never met each other, never knew their choice would matter, never knew you would exist. They just kept walking,